There's only one way to change your life, and it's through this simple thing I like to call honesty. Yes, groundbreaking idea, quite the concept, but listen, follow along, give me a few minutes. In our lives, we find it really easy to create excuses, create fictional scenarios, and lie to ourselves about the reality of situations. And there's an instance in which doing this is beneficial to your development in a sense of maybe from a perspective of manifestation, from a spiritual sense, because things aren't really as big a deal as they are, right? However, at the same time, what is also happening when you're giving yourself the space to have these illusions, create these narratives, and ultimately lie to yourself, you are stopping yourself from truth. And at the root of everything, we are all human and we want truth. We want clarity, we want honesty, and we want something that makes us feel those things. But how are you supposed to get that from someone or anything if you're not honest with yourself? If you don't even take the advice that you give others, if you don't even practice what you preach, you know? And for me, I had a stint in my life where for a couple years, I just was not who I used to be, and I wasn't yet who I am today. And in that phase, I lost control of my own power and chose not to believe the reality of the situation I was in. I was having to Instacart just to make money. I was being fully supported by a loved one, you know what I mean? And I didn't have any money to do the things I wanted to do after having had plenty of money to do everything I wanted to do. And it was quite the reality shock. But for the longest time, I just could not accept that to be my reality. Now, going back to what I mentioned in terms of a spiritual sense, yes, you cannot be defeated. This is not my reality. I'm better than this. But also, it's when you accept the truth of that reality in the current state that you can now shift your frequency to the place that you truly desire to be. And so it wasn't until I had that realization that I was able to shift my reality, that I was able to move toward the place I knew I needed to be. And that's why I urge you guys so deeply to just simply sit there and ask yourself one question. Who am I? And am I doing everything I know I can be doing? Be honest. And when you're being honest with yourself, you're going to start to uncover the lies and become okay with them, because ultimately you have to put it all on the table in order to see what is necessary to eat and what needs to go to the trash, right? If you had a Friendsgiving, for instance, right, and you told everybody bring a dish and everybody laid it on the table, you would know, okay, I want a little bit of that. I don't really like that, right? Furthermore, if you ask everybody to bring something to Thanksgiving, right, and the Friendsgiving, you had 10 people come over and only 5 people put things on a plate, you'd be wondering, hey, what are those other 5 items and where are they at? Why aren't they on the table? What's wrong with them? Always having to pull yourself out of the present moment, pull yourself out of the frequency of progress, right? You would have to be looking back, looking around, trying to find something, when in reality, all you have to do is put everything on the table. Put everything on the table and ask yourself, what can satiate my hunger? What do I actually need to eat in order to be nourished, right? Or what do I think would taste really good? And this is a metaphor, this is an example, or I should say more of an analogy to reality, right? If you don't put all your lies and the bullshit that you tell yourself on the table, you're going to always be wondering about those other things. You're never going to be able to fully sit there. Like, you might, ooh, I want some mac and cheese and I want some sweet potatoes and I'm telling y'all some of my favorite dishes, right? And maybe some stuffing. But if you don't put any of that on the table, how are you going to know where it's at? It's just going to be an idea. And somebody else is going to come into the room and ask where the mac and cheese is at. And what are you going to do? Sit there and lie? No, you're not. Because if you came somewhere and you wanted to ask where the mac and cheese was at, you'd want to ask them, you'd want them to give you a real answer, to be able to tell you exactly where it's at. So honesty and truth with yourself is the same exact way. Why would you lie to yourself if you don't want other people to lie to you? It's kind of like the golden rule after all. So, guys, yeah, that's just was on the top of my mind, you know. Be honest with yourself if you want to change your life. That's the only way you're going to change your life. If you keep lying to yourself, you're never going to get anywhere. Plain and simple. The actual fucking truth. But yeah, if any of this was helpful, guys, I do have a community you guys can always check out. Link down below or in my bio. I actually have this thing called the 7 Pillars that transformed my life in a very short amount of time. That helped me alter my mental capacity. And I have what was really 8 module kind of like course in my community just for you guys on those topics and everything revolving that. So if it sounds like something that can be useful for you guys, just go check that out. It's free. And I will see you guys in the next. I'll see you guys in the next video. Love y'all and peace.